Carolina. And today we're talking with Centerra Harris, and she has a program called Coach Up, which is, I'll tell you what I'll do. Well, welcome to the program, Ms. Harris. How are you?
Thank you. I'm good.
Explain what your program is and the concept of what you do.
Okay. I've been with Coach Up for about 2 years. Basically, it gives us access to parents and athletes who are looking for a private coach to train them in any sport, but I train specifically in the sport of basketball. So they go on our website, click on the link. They can set up sessions and see kind of how my workout breakdown is. And once they click and book a session, I give them the information about where we will meet and train, and we just kind of go from there.
Tell the listening audience out there too. By the way, Coach Harris has been on the Overtime Sports Show, the one you hear or have heard on Blog Talk Radio. So she's a friend of the program. She's been on more than once, and this is a brand new form of which to bring you the Overtime Sports Show. And we're happy to be here today. Explain to the audience what your background is and what uniquely qualifies you to do what you do.
Well, I'm a nationally certified and accredited basketball coach. I've coached for about 15 years now, coached basketball and track. I've coached at 3 different schools. We went to the state championship in my time at Page High School. So I've been doing it a while now, and I've been working with Coach Up for the past 2 years, just specifically privately training, but I also do camps and clinics with whole teams or with small groups.
Well, I tell you, after being in coaching 15 years and have no gray hair, congratulations on that. So
I have to dye them. I have to dye them. I hide them well.
I tell you, you know what? I did it for like 20 some years, and I have no hair at all and gray hair everywhere, so I know exactly the pressures of coaching. Well, I got a question for you, and I've always, whenever I get a coach on, I always ask this question. What seems to be, this day and age, from the time you started 15 years ago coaching until now, athletes have changed. Attitudes from athletes have changed. Attitudes from parents have changed. Definitely attitudes from administrators have changed. Everything about sports in the last 15 years, heck, I'll even say the last 30 days, but the last 15 years has changed. What have you noticed as the biggest change in athletes that you work with as well as the ones that you coach?
I would say technology probably plays a big part in the change in athletes because when I first started, I started coaching right out of high school. So at 19, I was coaching people my own age, basically. But I think back then the drive was that we actually got out in the yard and played. We went outside and played sports with other people and that sort of thing. And I think a lot of times now kids think that they're going to figure out sports by playing video games, and they don't get outside and actually get that training in. And it's hard. I mean, even I was training this weekend, and it was hard because I was training outside, and the young lady, was having a hard time with it. And I'm like, if you want to get better, this is what you got to do. There's a lot of people that are not, putting in this effort and work to try to get better. They think it's just going to happen when they show up at the time of tryouts. So I think it's very important if a young person is interested in a sport that they need to be training year-round. That doesn't mean they have to play year-round, but they need to be training in some sort of way. So a lot of times it'll pick up during the summer because parents will say, I don't want my child sitting in the house all summer. And the kids that really want it, I find, will say, I want to work out all summer.
Yeah, I've noticed several things. I work with, Division I college kids now. I coached varsity high school sports, junior varsity high school sports. And the thing that I myself have noticed the difference now is, like you said, the toughness of the athlete. When I was coming along back in the 70s, well, I was born in the 60s. I started playing baseball when I was 5, so it means I was, in 1960, I'm not even going to talk about it. But when I was 5 years old, I started playing baseball outside in the heat.
Right.
Okay. When we played, We didn't go inside and sit in the air conditioner and play Xbox. First of all, we didn't have it. We were always outside. I also, prime tobacco. I mean, I did the whole 9 yards. So the heat didn't really bother me as much. And we didn't know anything. We're from a small town, and we didn't know anything other than to get out there and work at your craft. I mean, Sunday afternoons, I played football for a lot of years. The best football games I ever played in my life was Sunday afternoon in a field down from my house in Sandlot, and we used to get it on. And you used to fundamentally get it on. And that brings me to my second point. Kids nowadays don't believe in fundamentals. You look at basketball now. You look at collegiate basketball. Well, I'm not even going to go there. You go to high school basketball. Everybody wants to shoot, but nobody wants to play defense. I mean, and then when they play defense, it's like, what are they doing? What you call that defense? Their defense is grabbing the guy by the throat or just primarily getting in his way, not breaking down, hand up, hand down, wax on, wax off like we used to do. I mean, and you can tell that the game has changed that way. I saw some guys in practice. This was a collegiate practice, and the guy did some kind of stupid move. Now I tell him in a heartbeat. There is no place in any statistical category that I know of for dribbling. There is no place in any statistical category I know of for what do you call dribbling, when they spin and all that stuff. There's no statistical category. But there is a category for those who do that, and it's called, and there's a place for them, it's called the bench. Okay? So you look at the kids now, they get it all, and he said, I got this off my video game. I'm like, what? Off a video game. So, I mean, do you see that in the kids' minds now? Is that something that, because I saw Steph Curry do it or James Harden or whoever these guys are now, them doing that, I got to do the same thing, including the bad attitudes. They see the professional guys going off on television, talking junk to referees, but one thing they got to understand, high school, college, you will get your butt thrown so far out of the gym, it's not even funny. Right. So, do you see that now?
I do. I see that quite a bit, and especially with the kids I'm training consistently, I have to kind of rework their brain to make them understand. Number one, you're not Steph Curry, and it's not logical to some degree that you're gonna be able to pull up at half court like Steph Curry and make it every time like he does. I mean, and he even misses, but he's pretty accurate with his shot wherever he shoots it. But you're not him, and you haven't put in the work that he has to get where he's at. So it's a matter of kind of reworking them and saying, we're going to start with the fundamentals. I can build you up to the next level, and we'll keep growing, but you have to have that foundation first. So if you haven't got the basis of why you need to do this fancy dribble, we're not going to do it because you're wasting time.
Yes.
If there's not really a reason Steph has to pull up at half court unless it's the quarter's running out or something. But he does it. But for you trying to play middle school or high school ball, there's not a real reason for you to be shooting those shots consistently right now.
Right.
You need to find your range and fix your shot so that your shooting form stays the same, whether you just stepped on the court, whether you've been playing for 30 minutes. Whenever you get tired, you're going to start changing your shot if you're not mentally focused and disciplined. So I teach the fundamentals of we're going to make your shot consistent. Whether you miss it or make it, it's still going to be consistent so that when you get tired, you'll shoot your shot the same way you do when you first step on the court.
Yeah, I mean, because even what did Vince Lombardi say, that fatigue makes cowards of us all. So therefore, if you get tired, then you will change what you do. But that also comes from conditioning, which you cannot get sitting in front of a video game.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I was coming home on Sunday, and there was 15 guys out there on one of the local football fields, Northern Durham, and they were out there and they were playing. They weren't tackling because kids don't do that these days. I think they're afraid they're going to break something, but they were out there running routes and doing doing things. And I just happened to stop by, and because when I see that, it kind of interests me, and I just asked the question. I said, "You guys play for? What do you guys play for a team?" They're like, "Yeah, we play for Northern." I said, "Every one of you?" They're like, "Yeah." I said, So you mean to tell me that you guys get together on a Sunday afternoon at 4 o'clock and you come out here and you practice football? They said, yeah, we do this every Sunday. I shook each and every one of them's hand and said, thank you.
That's impressive.
For practicing your craft. Thank you. You may not win them all, but you won't lose them all either.
Right.
If you do them like that. So I said, man, I was so impressed. So when the season rolls around, I know where I'm going to be sitting, and I'm going to be watching these kids because they really impressed me. Of course, there were no coaches around. They can't be anyway.
Right.
They're doing it on their own. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And I'm like, guys, if y'all stick together like this, y'all going to be putting up that state championship trophy at the end of the season because nobody can – you're outworking your opponent because they're sitting down now eating dinner watching the NBA Finals or whatever they're doing now. I said, you guys are out here working. It was so refreshing to see young people working at their craft. Ooh, I was so impressed. Now, another question I have for you. I know since you do this coach up and you work with each individual kid and everything, how does that affect like recruiting? College recruiters, do they call you? I know they want to get better so they can get noticed by their colleges.
Right.
But what do you see as the biggest trend now as far as recruiting and what you do to get the kids ready to go into that wild, wacky world of recruiting?
Well, I would say, basically, I tell my athletes the first day I start with them, I want to make you the most dangerous player on the court and the most needed player on the court. So I don't care if you're 6'3" or you're 5'2". I'm going to make you be able to work any position on the court. So we're going to have some sort of skill set that if you're a little bitty guard and you get put in the post for some reason, you're going to be able to at least make a basic post move to score. If you're a post player, you're going to be able to handle the ball. You're going to be able to, have a mid-range jump shot or a short corner jump shot that you can use that will keep you, necessary on the court. I want your coach to say, I always need you on the court. So with that being said, if I'm making them that person, and then I've been in coaching this long, I have a lot of coaching friends. So when they call me and say, hey, you have anybody you're training that I can come look at? I can say, yeah, they play at such and such school. Give them a shout, go look at them. I'll get you their stats or their information, and I can tell you personally what their strengths and weaknesses are, what we've worked on, what they've gotten better at, and that sort of thing. So for me, I always look to try to get my kids into college because if I can help them get there quicker or easier or make it easier for their high school coach or maybe they're at a school where their coach isn't helping them, and I can, then I definitely will. So the coaches that I do know, I always try to post stuff on Facebook and that sort of thing so that they see that this kid's working, this kid's getting better. Maybe you want to take a look at it.
Let me ask you this. Excuse me, I think I'm catching a cold. But would you rather, and I ask coaches this too a lot. Now, I know there are athletes out there who that have the God-given talent, like Steph Curry. Now, I'm going to tell you, people use Steph Curry. I'll use it for an example too. Steph did not start out as Steph.
Right.
Steph was this little bitty kid, and I saw him over at NC State when they played NC State way back when he was at Davidson. And I swear I thought that he was going to be like a model for Toys R Us. That's how skinny and small this kid. He like a kid.
Right.
And now he's developed himself into a very rich kid, but I mean, but it is what it is.
Right.
But would you rather? And he worked at his craft, like you said. He worked. You can tell. Even before everybody else was out. This kid, because I got there like an hour ahead of game time, and he was already out there.
Nice.
He's already putting up shots. So, would you rather coach a kid who has all of God's given talent and doesn't know how to use it, or a kid that's fighting and trying and struggling and getting better every day because they're putting the work into it and they're becoming from a lump of coal into that diamond in the rough? Well, which kind of kid do you find yourself gravitating more towards or want to coach more?
Like, I think, the kid that, hands down, the kid that is going to work because the old saying is hard work beats talent when talent doesn't, work hard or whatever. Yeah. So basically, I have most of the kids that come to me are those diamonds in the rough. Like they have some sort of natural athletic ability, but they're always that one that needs to be polished off. And 90% of the kids that come to me don't have that confidence factor for whatever reason. And that's a big part of what I do is build their confidence. Because if I give you the skill sets and the fundamentals that you need, and I build your confidence, once you put all that together and you step on the court, now you've got a different swagger about yourself, and you got the skills to back it up. There's nothing that can stop you. So I always gravitate towards those kids who maybe have been counted out, maybe, are athletic, but maybe not a basketball player per se, or just haven't come into their own yet. Because that was me in high school for so many years. They couldn't find, I was, tall, but I could handle the ball. They didn't know where to put me, so I played a 3 guard for a while, and then I got in the post and just kind of moved me around and kind of went from a role player to like a starter and that sort of thing. And so I see a lot of that in the athletes I work with, and I get the biggest thrill out of seeing them from day one into when they're, playing in all-star games or getting scholarship offers or whatever the case may be. Like, of course, working with Paris Key was easy because she's naturally athletic. So it was a bigger challenge to come up with workouts and things like that with her because she's already got the goods. Like, she's already well polished. So it wasn't a whole lot more polishing to do with her. It was more of just motivating her to keep driving herself to get better. But 90% of the kids I'm ever going to work with are going to be those kids who have some sort of athletic ability but don't have the confidence and the complete skill set to go with that.
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely love working with a kid who came to me, and being a high school coach, you get them coming to you, and they cannot chew gum and walk at the same time.
Right.
But there are flashes of, look at that. So then you sit there and you work with them when they're fresh. You work with them during the off season. You get them in the weight room. You get them eating the right foods. You get them, studying, doing what they're supposed to do. Then a sophomore, they're getting a little bit better. And you work with them again during the summer. You make sure they're doing everything. And then all of a sudden, when they become a senior, whoa, you got first team All-Americans. Now, the kid who came to you, who's got all the talent in the world, that can run the football like a gazelle, that reminds you of Walter Payton with Earl Campbell strength, they're playing down at the Y because somebody told them they were better than they actually were. But the one who came as that lump of coal, that's the one who does your program proud. Because not only will they do what's right in school, do what's right in the community, they will go to college.
Right.
They will finish, and they will become productive members of society no matter what they choose to do. I had a kid myself who did the same thing. I took that kid and I'm like, I'm going to make you my project because he was a good kid. Took him. We went all the way to the playoffs with this one kid. That's how good he got in 4 years. Right. After he finished playing football, he went to college. He got his undergrad. He got his master's. He went to the United States Secret Service. Wow. And he became working with the secretary, the foreign ministry, Secretary of State and stuff. And he became, listen now, the top security person for Hillary Clinton when she was the Secretary of State.
Nice.
That's the kind of kid that did not know how to hit.
Right.
That is what I want. But I find so much now. I got kids. I used to have kids. I'm telling you, the kid could throw the football 80 yards. I mean, it was so smooth. He didn't, but he kept listening to the wrong people. Oh, let me ask you this. How do you feel since you're in Coach Up, you try to work with the kids, you try to teach them the basic fundamentals. How do you feel about, like, a lot of coaches in North Carolina don't like AAU? They just because they don't really teach fundamentals. It's just running up and down the court, trying to score points to get into school, where it is they're going to do. How do you feel about AAU, if I may ask? It may be a touchy thing to ask about, But I usually ask that question.
Okay, that's kind of my opinion to some degree, and I've had, I know, 20, 30 people ask me to start an AAU team just because I'm in like a rural area and there's nowhere for our kids here to play or what have you. And I haven't really wanted that AAU stigma because I do to some degree think that a lot of times AAU, they don't teach you to play defense. And even my best and most talented players that I've worked with or seen play over the years that's been around me for a while, they end up getting scholarships to go to college, and a lot of times they end up on the bench or quitting in college because they were the AAU superstar hero, that was so celebrated and everybody said they were great. And it ended up being that maybe they were just a great shooter, but they weren't a great basketball player completely because they never learned defense. And I think, I hear a lot of AAU coaches, oh, this kid is great. They scored 30 points. Well, how many did their defender score? Like, did they shut their person down? Because if they're, scoring 30 points and their defender's scoring 30 points, then your man scored 0. Like, this kid didn't do anything. It didn't matter because they didn't shut their man down. So if I got a kid that can score 10 points and shut their man down completely to, they don't score any or they score 2 points, then I'll take this kid because he's 8 points in the good every game.
Yeah.
So my philosophy is, I don't really buy into the AAU thing. I do think that there is some good with it. There's a lot of exposure that kids get with AAU that maybe they wouldn't get with high school ball, but I feel like if you want to find a high school athlete, you go to a high school game and find them. I do think there is the exposure thing that helps out a lot of kids or what have you, but I think people abuse AAU with the money part of it, which is a turnoff for a lot of people, and myself included, because I know how much people are charging families to put their child in a basketball team, and I think it's unfair, and a lot of people are dishonest with that. But the other part is, if you're not teaching these kids how to play the complete game of basketball, then you're wasting everybody's time. You took their money, you took their time away that they could have been doing something else, and you're not helping them become a better player. So what happens is, they turn into this superstar shooter, but they don't ever learn the defensive part of it. So by the time they get to college, things kind of change, and they're wondering why they sit on the bench. But it's like, we only need you to score because you can't hold your man.
Yeah, I myself, I've looked at it over the years, and I'm just not sold on, because like you said, let's just say a kid gets a scholarship based on AAU, okay? But they don't teach them, unlike high school coaches. A lot of them, some of them don't, some of them do. But they teach you that when you go to college on that scholarship to play basketball, football, baseball, whatever it is, that is nice that you're going to play that sport. But your number one concern is to get that education. That's what it is. Now, when those kids sit there and they say, I'm going to quit because I ain't playing, did they go to school to play basketball?
Right.
Or they go to school to get an education? Now, I'm going to tell you, me, personally, if a school gave me $10, I ain't quitting.
Right.
I'm going to play, I'm going to get better, and if I want to start, it's up to me.
Right.
It's all in my court at that point, because I can get out there and outwork the guy. There's a guy in front of me. Now, I understand if I've got a senior in front of me. Okay, I realize as a freshman, unless I'm absolutely positively that superstar, I'm not going to probably move that guy out, because if he's starting, he's the best.
Right.
Okay. So I'm going to have to work to get to his level and beyond. So I can see what he's doing and see how hard he's working and turn my game up one more notch, because I want to be better than what he is. Okay. So that's what I've got to do. That's where the motivation, the self-motivation, the best training in the world, the true essence of a player is what they do when the lights ain't on. What they do when it's 105 degrees in the middle of July, and you know that you've done 10 sprints, but I tell you what, you need to do 11. Why? Because the people at Johnson C. Smith or the people at Elizabeth City, they did 11. If I find out they did 11, I'm going to do 12. Yeah. If I find out they did 12, I'm going to do 20 and shut them down. I promise you.
That's a young lady I worked with last year, and I worked with her all summer. And her family was like, I just want her to have a great senior year. I don't care if a scholarship comes from it or whatever. I just want her to have a great senior year. So we want you to train her. And I said, that's fine, but you're gonna be surprised at the results. So I remember it like it was yesterday. It was probably 96 degrees outside. And I was like, are you sure you want to work? She's like, yeah, we got to get this session in. I said, okay. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. It's like 96 degrees. So it's fiery hot, and we're outside working out. And I said, remember this day, because this is the day that actually made you. This was what's going to make you different from everybody else. I said, because when your friends are in that nice cool gym, or your friends are at the house on the couch and they're playing and eating or whatever, you're out here working. You're going to remember this day in the hot sun when we were out here busting our tail to get better. And you're not going to forget it. And I said, you're going to have an amazing senior year. Ends out, she made, all tournament in the Christmas tournament, all conference. She played in the All-Star game, had an amazing senior year. Decided not to play college ball because she wanted to go into a MBA program. So she's doing the 5-year MBA program. But I'm like, I'm proud of you either way. You're winning, regardless. But she's a great senior year, and that's what you wanted.
And that defined her, taking her into the academic world, because while everybody else is sitting there watching Ren and Stimpy, she's in that library, and she's doing exactly what she's supposed to do. And you know what? Because of Coach Harris, I don't know how to quit. Because of myself, I don't know how to quit. As a matter of fact, don't know how? Hell, I don't want to.
Right.
I want to be the best. Right. And when you get a kid, like those 15 kids I saw out there at Northern, they go out there in the heat, and it was matter of fact, it had rained, and the field was like, all practice fields are grass fields, so it's muddy.
Right.
And these kids were out there in the slop, and that even impressed me more because that's how I used to like to practice. I used to love the mud. Oh, I used to love the mud. And when you get kids with that attitude, hey, the sky is the limit for those kids. And doesn't it warm your heart to just see people who want to try as hard as you did? I didn't have the most talent in the world when I played, but I had hustle, I had heart, I had determination, and I wasn't scared. Right. I wasn't scared of nothing. I was 99 pounds soaking wet. And the first day I put on pads as a football player in high school, I had to hit a guy named Lloyd Gatlin. Lloyd Gatlin was an all-conference, all-in North Carolina State defensive end. Back in those days, he was 6'4", 240 pounds, which was huge. Okay, that was in the 70s, so he was like a man beast. Okay, and here I am, this little bitty freshman, just learned how to put my thigh pads in right, turned my knee pads the wrong way, but I was out there, dadgummit. And the coach, I had to hit this guy, so I said, well, there's 2 choices in this. He's going to kill me and just plow me, or he's going to kill me and embarrass me. Either way, I'm going to die. So I'm going to go out with my shoes on. Kick the ball. There's a punting drill. He comes downfield trying to tackle my buddy behind me, and I hit him with everything the Lord above put in my body. It sounded like an Amtrak hit a Yugo. That's exactly what it sounded like. He went down. I went down. I got up. He stayed down. I broke 3 of his ribs. And from that point on, the head coach, varsity head coach, came over and said, son, you can play for me because you ain't got no sense. And that's what he said. And I played every game through my high school career. I started. He said, you crazy. And that was just because I didn't know anybody. I just knew how to go full speed. And that's what coaches can appreciate with kids these days. Either you make a mistake, don't sit there and stomp your foot while the guy's going back down court or the girl's going. Make a mistake, make it 100 miles an hour.
Right.
That's it. Make a mistake. Well, Coach, thank you so much. Hey, do me a favor. Tell the listening audience how they can get in contact with you if they want to use your services.
www.coachup.com/coaches, and then you'll type in my name, Centerra. Last name is Harris, Harris.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Coach, for appearing here on the Overtime Sports Show. And, of course, like I said, you're a regular here, so you're going to be on again, especially as I know we get closer to basketball season and get through those summer workouts. And, like I say, that separates the wheat from the chaff. When it gets to be 110 degrees in July and August, baby, it breaks a week down. So thank you so much. You have a great day.
All right, you too. Thank you.
Uh-huh.